All right. Hello, my name is Jacob Anderson. I'm here with the business leader who I selected. Go ahead and state your name, your occupation, and what's your company.
Hi there, Richard Anderson, obviously Jacob's dad, vice president of Lionheart Electrical. We're a small electrical contracting company. I think I need to say something that I consent to being recorded for Jacob's school purposes. Yeah,
Perfect. Yes. And this is the organizational contemporary business leadership presentation. Alrighty. So we have a series of questions lined up. These first couple are pretty simple. Just a 1 through 5 scale. One never used this characteristic. So we're going from characteristics to traits. So one, we're gonna go 1 through 5 scale. One never used, five always used. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So the first characteristic is listening in a business setting. How do you listen and what do you kind of rate yourself on as far as employees?
as far as 1 to 5 scale, five for sure for listening.
On to the next character trait, empathy. How are you empathetic to the people around you? How would you rate yourself on like a scale of 1 to 5?
Um, Pretty empathetic person by nature, so I'd say maybe four.
And then kind of, yeah, branching off of that, the next characteristic is healing. So I guess how could you be more of a supportive? How would you kind of rate yourself on that?
Yeah, like you said, goes right along with empathy. Same number scale, I think on a scale of 1 to 5, probably in a four, maybe even closer to a five on that one, just because I want to keep my relationships with my customers as much as I want to keep my relationships with my employees. Um, Got to have happy customers to get repeat business. And if I don't have happy employees to do the work, then we're just fighting an uphill battle the whole way. So
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And moving on from that, we have awareness, kind of 1 through 4. How do you feel yourself as far as company awareness?
um I would say probably about a four. I'd like to be a five.
We have persuasion characteristic. How are you feeling 1 through 5 on that?
Same, probably about a four. I wish I was a five. If I was a five, we would win every job that we bid.
Perfect. All right. Perfect. All right. And then we're just going to hit a couple rapid fire ones, just right off the top of your head, 1 through 5, based off the one word that I say. So conceptualization. Do you,
Four.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
Foresight, looking ahead.
Five.
5.
Yeah.
Stewardship, more cognitive.
Yeah, probably a three or a four, I would say.
Or commitment to growth of people, so empathy, healing, kind of going back to that.
Yeah, four still.
Or and then interest in building community as far as a company.
Yeah, I'd say a five.
5. Perfect. That is perfect. All right, that is section 1 done. So we will move on to section 2. And this is traits. Okay. Yeah, more entrepreneurial mindset, kind of looking ahead. And so the first trait, 1 through 5. If you feel you need to explain, go ahead. Um, but as a trait, the need to achieve, how do you rank yourself 1 to 5?
Um, I would say a five. I mean, we want to achieve, we want to do the best work that we can. You know what I mean?
Traits, openness to experience. I know you're pretty, I mean, you're as good as you get, but openness to experience, you always open to learn more,
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
Learning more. We're constantly trying to develop foreman training programs. I am constantly keeping myself up to speed. I teach electrical apprentices, so I'm in the code book or doing, calculations for electrical every week. I'm trying not to lose what I've already gained.
Nice. Oh yeah. And then the next trait, innovation, creativity, ability. How would you rank your skill on a scale of 1 to 5?
Unfortunately, I'd say we're probably about a 3 as far as innovation goes. Just by nature, the type of work that we do is pretty well defined. A lot of commercial tenant finish and remodels
The next trait, we move on to risk propensity.
goes.
1 through 5. Yeah, as far as kind of risk, risky behavior.
Um, I would say a 2,
2.
honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ethic, how you see yourself being proactive and worth that. If I know, if I can chime in, I think I would.
Um, Proactive. I if I'm speaking about myself or as a company, I'd say 4. Again, I wish we were 5. What was the second piece of it? Sorry.
Oh, worth it. Work ethic.
Work ethic for me is number one.
Perfect. Yeah. And the next trait we got, it's entrepreneurial self-efficacy. So looking to go bigger? Are you looking more of kind of a goal set number as far as employees or a goal set number for pricing and jobs? How would you rate yourself on a 1 to 5? Is
I'd
in like keep going as far as I can go, or
I would say a 4, but that's by nature.
100%, yeah. And then the last and final one for this 1 through 5 is an internal locus of control, which is one's belief that one has control over their own life and outcomes of events. How would you do you feel you have less control of kind of your own life and certain outcomes in the company, or you're top man?
I'd say 5. I
5.
think everybody controls their own destiny.
Moving on kind of to those longer questions briefly. Consider your greatest career achievement in that role. What's kind of the best thing that's happened while being VP at this company?
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, it doesn't, you can get more in depth on it as far as notes on later, but just right off
Our biggest achievement. I don't really know, honestly. I'd have to think a little bit more on. As from a company standpoint, I would say, you know, we won 2 prize that we took a little bit of a risk and we took on 2 large, well, we took on 1 larger project. So one of the biggest achievements as a company as a whole, I think, was securing those 2 projects. Allowed us to keep our people busy for almost 11 months just on those 2 jobs. Great from a profitability standpoint on those 2 jobs as well. So a little bit of a risk, but pretty good reward at the end. Um,
and then moving on from that, moving on from the greatest career achievement, what's the biggest challenge you've had, and how did you handle it, and how was that outcome?
the biggest business challenge we've had to deal with is when we started our company, there was 3 business partners, and now we're down to 2. Um,
Moving on, to the second to last question, as far as being, one of the leaders at your organization, what's kind of your strategy for the organization as a whole?
one of the I don't really one of the biggest things that I think about is we are essentially providing food, meals, housing, putting dinner on everybody's plates for about 17 employees um, between field and office staff. So my strategy is to make sure that we stay busy so that everybody gets nice 40 plus hour a week paycheck. Strategy for bids. and future opportunities for the company. I wholeheartedly believe in our bidding abilities. The pricing that we put out is relative to the work that we perform.
As far as coming back to a Christian worldview, as I'm at GCU and we're in a Christian environment, how does kind of servant leadership apply? And you kind of already mentioned, looking out for your employees, making sure they get the hours, making sure, right, their families are good. I don't know if you kind of want to dive a little deeper on that as far as like trust, how do they trust you? How do you trust them?
Yeah, I mean, if you take any kind of project management or any kind of leadership classes, servant leadership is definitely always top of everybody's topic of discussion, right? So, yeah, I mean, it definitely starts from the top, right? If I have bad work ethic, if I am just constantly ragging on somebody about, somebody, one of my employees, somebody, that works underneath me, um, how do you think that's going to make them feel, right?
Correct.
So, trying to boost everybody's morale, self-esteem, training is a big one for our industry anyway, and kind of letting everybody work their way up as well.
Perfect. Well, I think that does it. I have no more further questions. Alrighty. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you today. So, do you have any questions for me? Anything at all?
No, not that I could think of.
Well, perfect. Well, Dad, Richard, I really appreciate you joining me for the Zoom call.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you. All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Have a good evening.